Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. It is the match preview of Liverpool against Tottenham. Yes, we have another clash between these two. And yeah, it's nice to have a Sunday game. I've got to be honest. It is very, very nice to have a Sunday game and not a sort of a midweek game. Yes, I know we have got a midweek game coming up, but it is nice to have a Sunday game. And joining me is probably one of the up-and-coming YouTubers in Mr. Harry Scarfe from Scarfe Spurs Talk. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. Pleasure to be here. So yeah, thank you for the invite. When I saw it, really excited to come on. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to getting into tomorrow's game because it's a big game for both.
Absolutely, absolutely is. And I'll be honest, this is one of the most unique things about this preview because if not many people, I don't know if many people will know, but I've got Asperger's syndrome. I've got a form of autism. Harry here, you also have autism. So I think this is the first preview I've actually ever done where both guests are actually autistic.
There you go. That is a good achievement. It's good for everyone else to recognise that, and it's a massive step forward. Because if you're autistic, Asperger's, you can still do it. It doesn't stop you from doing it. Stop it doing from what you love. So hopefully people look at this and it encourages their own to create their own channel, their own show, their own podcast, or even just go on people. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be part of that with you, Douglas. So yeah, thank you for having me on. I didn't know about that, so that is great to hear. Fantastic.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Guys, do leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and also subscribe to Scarfe's Spurs Talk. Very, very good good channel. Yeah, you've got... did you just pass 600, am I right in saying?
Just
right?
past 600, yeah. So because in 2023 so far, it's been incredible because, we started the year with under 400 subs, about mid 300s. I thought to myself, 500 by the end of the season will be spot on. But, there's a point, last month, this month even, where, there was days where we were gaining like 50 to 100 every 24 hours. So it's fantastic. We sit here now somewhere in between 600 and 700, but I know that it will only be a matter of time before I get to 700. So I want to thank everyone for the support. And I'm also very, very grateful to be here and go check out your channel as well, Douglas's channel, which I'm on, if you haven't noticed. Very good channel. I have listened before. I like your content. I love what you do. So it's a pleasure to come on.
I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. Let's get into the chat as well. Good evening, Chris. Hope you're well. A bad result for Carlisle, but that actually now confirms you in the playoffs for League One. So congratulations, Carlisle. I really hope you do come up. He has gone, evening, lads. Hope you're well. Is Harry really looking forward to this game as a Spurs fan? Well, we were just speaking off air. How are you feeling going into this one?
I've got to be honest, not positive. I think any team that goes to play Liverpool at Anfield, you have to fear. However bad Liverpool been under, however their struggles this season, have still gone there, for example, and turned over City, absolutely turned over and absolutely ripped apart Man United. I mean, apart from the start of the season when, the first couple of games when under a new manager they're getting started, apart from that, Liverpool are the only team to really demolish Man United the way they do. That left so many questions about Man United. City, as I said, they beat. You were unlucky not to beat Arsenal, who are top of the league as things stand. Every team that comes to Anfield, regardless of the result, Liverpool always turn up, but especially for the big games like this. A little bit of confidence deep down after that Man United game, showing resilience and a bit of team spirit, which it hasn't been there all season under Sleeney or Conte. So it's good to see us come back from 2-0 behind because, being in that situation at halftime, we've been in it many times this season. Myself being at the game, we're like, we're not getting back into this. So it's good to see that under Ryan Mason that there is this team spirit. And, Son, for example, Son scores, goes over to him, thanks him. And there's a better feel already because the club's in not a great place. And there's lots of toxic feeling. But, right now that result, that second half was very, very good. And must give the team some kind of confidence, a little bit of confidence going to Anfield, which is probably, in my opinion, the toughest game of the season going to Anfield, especially for a big game and a big team.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I watched about your game against Manchester United the other night, and actually, I thought second half you were very, very good. Pedro Porro, fantastic finish, and then obviously Son getting the goal, and I mean how Eric Dyer missed.
I know. I don't know how Dyer or Son missed. They both had big chances, so we can look at that and go, oh, big chances to Dyer and Son, who they've got to go in the back of the net, or we can look at it and go in. We're 2-0 down at half time. United could have been 3 or 4 up in that first half. They hit the bar early in the second half, and we got a point against a team that are above us as well. So, or you can look at it like that. But at the same time, if we had won, we would have been in that kind of outsiders in that top 4 race. So it depends which way you look at it. Lots of fans will look at it in a negative view, but I look at it as a point gained, considering you're 2-0 down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely indeed. Good evening, David Byrne. Hope you are well, my friend. Anyway, playoffs, here we come. Man from my team, Carlisle. Absolutely. Yes, autism awareness. Absolutely. Absolutely 100%. Indeed. Just sub to Harry, not sub to a Spurs channel. There we go.
I appreciate that. Any fans are welcome on my channel. Chris, I'd just like to say, I have a new show on the channel every Monday, 8 p.m, where we get different guests on. I've got Douglas on Monday. That's the match reaction to the Liverpool show, the game Sunday. So, yeah, any fans are welcome, because although it is Spurs content, as I said, with that podcast, I'm looking to get other fans' perspective and view. Douglas, you'll be the first Liverpool fan as well on the channel. But Chris, appreciate the sub. Definitely, appreciate if anyone else has any channels out there, DM me. My Twitter handle's Harry Scarfe 22, or find it, or in the comments of my channel, Scarfe Spurs Talk, just put the link or the name of your channel and I will subscribe, because sometimes you have to put football aside, and like with autism awareness is a perfect thing, but I think I'm definitely happy to support, and we are in any football channel, any sports channel out there. So yeah, really, really appreciate it, Chris. I hope you enjoy my content. Yeah, big up to you.
Absolutely. Unbelievable. Successful season of Carlisle. Didn't expect this at all. Simpson deserved manager of the season for me. Without him, we'd be a National League club. Hello to John Conway as well in the chat. Ryan Mason said in the press conference he was ready for the job full time. Oh, did he now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what were your expectations at the start of the season? Because when I look at Tottenham, it has been a very, very topsy-turvy season, which has obviously included you having Antonio Conte to begin with. Then obviously he was sacked, and then Stellini comes in, and then he's sacked, and then Ryan Mason's coming. What have you made of your season?
Bonkers, absolutely bonkers. It's never a quiet day at Tottenham, and any rival fan, if you don't know, you're quick to learn that. There's always drama. Appreciate it, John. It's overall, I think it hasn't been a good season whatsoever. Positive is we're seeing now. All of a sudden, where in that second half, although it was only 45 minutes, it's probably the best 45 minutes we played all season, because although some results haven't been bad, like we've beaten City at home, for example, and there's been a couple like that, but the performances all season haven't been great, and the feeling around the club isn't very good at the moment. My expectations going into the season were quite high, as you could imagine, having finished top 4 last season under Conte, and he didn't even have half a season, and he transformed us. We leapfrogged so many teams. That form chart from January to May, June, we would have finished second, for example. Behind City, that the form was amazing. I don't think anyone expected us to get top 4 over Arsenal, considering I think when Conte came in, it was a huge gap of like 15, maybe even 20 points. It was huge. So to close that was fantastic, because Arsenal were very, very good until the last 2 or 3 games. So yeah, this season under Conte, I would have said, let's say realistically 3rd, and a domestic trophy I thought was realistic, because you get in top 4, in half a season in charge, and having a transfer window, the signings is irrelevant, but the amount of money we spent, and under Paratici, I thought some play. You got big names in there like Basuma, like Richarlison. We've all been calling out for backup keeper, even though it's Fraser Forster as a backup keeper. Jed Spence, it seemed a really, really exciting signing. There's so many Lenglet, from Barcelona as well. although he struggled at Barcelona at the end. He's from Barcelona, and he played for him quite a bit in the end. So yeah, overall, it's been quite disappointing. They haven't worked out for different reasons. Certain players haven't shone like we thought they would have. Son, Perisic, Spence, Basuma. Yeah, but right now, if we can end the season well, but I saw a comment there about Ryan Mason for the long term. The problem is, I don't think fans will be willing to be patient because fans are very quick to jump to conclusions. They look at the statistic and go, one trophy, under these owners, 22, nearly 23 years now. And that was 2008 before I was born, by the way, just to give you an idea how long that was. I was the League Cup in the summer of 2008. I was born a few months after. But no, they look at that. But I'm willing to be patient. If you said to me, Douglas, that would you be willing to wait 3-4 years under Ryan Mason to win a trophy and really be successful if it the long-term project involved like younger players attacking football, getting our identity back? Because we mustn't go for another what I call checkbook managers or big name managers with huge experience like the Contes and Mourinho's, because it hasn't worked. So you've got to look down the company and Ryan Mason route, or even further, you go Michael Carrick. Because with Arsenal, with Arteta, it worked because although fans some fans weren't patient, the board always were. But our club, they aren't. Let's say, even now, right, if Ryan Mason loses his next three, he could be gone for the last game of the season. That's with our board. They're almost like Watford and Chelsea, if you like. We were very, very quick to make that decision. There's no plan there. But I'll be willing to do that. But maybe, he's been assistant manager for a short time under Stellini, number 3 for Conte. Obviously, he hasn't been like a first-team manager like some are, like with Michael Carrick in the Championship with Middlesbrough. So he may need that first. But I wouldn't close the idea, because he's a lot better than ending up with Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion. Yeah,
100%. And I think you need someone of a Spurs ilk in and amongst the dressing room. I'll just give you a list. I think Ryan Mason is a lovely, lovely person. Obviously, his career was ended, prematurely because of obviously a really, really bad skull injury. But whenever I've seen Ryan Mason in press conferences, he does come around a really, really good guy. So I think if you maybe not give him the manager's job, but I think if you keep him around, I think that would be very, 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 very good. And I agree with you about obviously, checkbook managers. Conte, for me, when you appointed Conte, and obviously Chris Welsh will still be in the chat, we both said the same thing. Conte and Daniel Levy was a match made in, well, I would say hell. But is Daniel Levy the biggest problem at Tottenham right now?
100%. And I'd just like to add on to that. Myself, I can be honest about this. Let's say last year, I didn't have a problem. I wasn't defending the owners or defending Levy, but in January I was kind of in the middle, or perhaps it's the manager. But now, how can people not recognise that Levy is the problem? Because if Mourinho's not winning a trophy at Tottenham, Conte's not winning a trophy at Tottenham, we've got all these problems. We've got no men's or women's first team manager. We've got no sporting director. We've got no identity. We've got no plan. We don't know what we're doing. And every day it's a different decision. He really has lost the plot. And the very least he can do is step away from the football side of things. He's just been overstepped his stay, if you like. He's the longest serving chairman now in the Premier League, and only one trophy to show for it. And there's no plan, there's no message to the fans. It's club statement after club statement. And that's only with action from the fans. Protests are getting bigger and bigger every home game now. The one against Man United, the biggest to date, covered by TalkSport, Sky, back pages of other big papers as well, like the Daily Mirror. I definitely think he is definitely the main problem. You'd be crazy to say otherwise, because we're talking about a man who never has and never will accept his mistakes, never learns from them. For example, I don't know your thought, Douglas, or anyone in the chat as Liverpool fans, but for me, Mauricio Pochettino sees the obvious one to go back to, considering in Levy's reign, he certainly of recent years has been the most successful one, because everyone thought at the time, including myself at a very young age, that Perhaps we needed a Mourinho, for example, or needed a Conte to get us over the line and win a trophy. But I think it's shown that Pochettino massively overachieved with these bunch of players because we went 2 or 3 windows without signing anyone under Pochettino. And Mourinho and Conte, they've had windows where they've spent over 100 million. Don't get me wrong, recruitment hasn't been great. But if they can't win a trophy at Tottenham, but we got to Champions League final, as you know. We finished second 2 seasons in a row, got top 4 for 5, I think it was, seasons in a row. Things that haven't been done under any manager since. But he won't do that, Douglas, because he won't accept that it was a mistake to sack him in the first place. He won't accept that he's wasted 4 years. He like, for example, in the club statement when he sacks Stellini, he says, "Oh, I take responsibility." And you read that, you think, "Oh my goodness, he's finally taking responsibility." But if you read it all along with the players, along with the fans, along with the board, along with so and so, that's not taking the blame. What he should have said in that statement was, "I take full responsibility because I was the one who put Stellini as acting head coach or interim manager until the end of the season in the first place. I am sorry." But no, it's none of that. I take responsibility and then list 50 people after it. For me, that's not taking the apology. He doesn't help himself by the interviews. And have you ever noticed that the only action taken, like, for example, the protest scheduled Thursday, I mean, as you know, we lost 6-1 to Newcastle. And when Monday morning it was announced that this mass process was planned once again outside the stadium, big numbers expected, social media, the amount of people replying to Spurs without leaving out images, unique out images, that forced them to take action. So their action was sacking Stellini, appointed Mason, and they even launched a fan advisory board. They always seem to do that. It's the second time they've done that. It didn't take place. They've done it when fans escalated when Mourinho got sacked, and it never happened. So they only ever take action, and he only takes action when he's worried about the reaction. So the second half for him was perfect because everyone was behind the scenes supporting the team. So as bad as the results has been, as bad as the season it's been, the positive of us losing, the small positive there, is that it puts pressure on Levy and the owners. And there's banners in the stadium. There's more people starting to wake up, if you like. Obviously, a long way to come, but he's definitely, short recap of that, he's definitely the main problem with Spurs. And I think day by day, minute by minute, second by second, people are starting to realise that.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely passionate response to Daniel Levy. No, honestly, it was so passionate. I really enjoyed what you said there. I have to say, actions speak louder than words when it comes to Daniel Levy, as far as I'm concerned. And the thing is, as well, when I look at some of your results, like your season, as I said, it has been a bit bonkers. Yeah. Do you think it's the defeats to the smaller sort of clubs like Bournemouth? Or is that like, you have had some very, very good results in obviously beating Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but it's like losing to the likes. All right, Newcastle. I mean, I'll be honest. I have never seen a team play as badly as Spurs did at Newcastle in that 21 minutes. I thought, I remember when Liverpool went 4-0 up against Arsenal. This was the Brendan Rodgers season. This would be 13-14. We went 4-0 up after 20 minutes. I didn't expect to see Tottenham go 5-0 down to Newcastle in 21 minutes. But actually, from actually seeing your tweets as well for the week, you weren't confident because I think I remember you saying on your show, I'm really, really worried about this. I could see even 3-4. I think you said maybe at one point, I wouldn't be surprised if this was 4-0. And then to actually see it happen as well. And then obviously Sarr, unlucky Sarr, I would have to say, was actually dragged off.
Anyone could have been taken off. That's in a situation where if you had 10 subs bar Kane, you would use it. So Sarr, of course, he wasn't great, but anyone could have been taken off. Højbjerg could have been taken off. I've someone who's defended him all season because I think he's a consistent performer, right? But we go 3-0 down in less than 10 minutes, or might be 12 minutes, let's say, against Newcastle. There's an image of him laughing there, right? Us fans, I sat there and not in shock. What's that? What the hell is happening? But as a player, to stand there with your hands on your hip, looking up the sky and laughing when you're losing 3-0, I mean, it's not good enough, really. So yeah, Newcastle. I said we'd lose, and I said we'd get turned over. I sat there thinking, do you know what? The only game we really got turned over this season was Leicester 4-1. I was thinking we haven't been great. We're poor against Bournemouth. I was thinking, and then I saw the lineup. I was like, Porro and Perisic playing wing back. They've never done that in their football career. And I was like, oh God, my goodness, you're chucking players like Sal and Skip in there in front of St James's Park, who's actually rocking, this season, and rightly so, because they're, having an excellent season. So I got called out for it a lot when I predicted that we would lose 4-5-1. People saying, oh, you should be optimistic, back your team. We're never going to go there and lose that. Funny how you hear nothing back from them. I just had a feeling inside, because I know what we're like. I know Newcastle are absolutely flying, and I knew it'd be difficult. But when I said that, I meant it, but I really didn't expect it to happen. That was me being really, really negative, thinking I know what we're like, but I wasn't 100. I thought it would happen, but nowhere near as bad as that. I was thinking, let's say we get to the closing stages of the game, and we've given up, and they kind of they do it then. But I didn't expect, if you'd asked me 5-0 down inside 19 minutes, I would have thought you're joking. So for that to be reality, because not being funny, Newcastle have an excellent season, but our squad is far superior than them, and Newcastle have had great history, but we're talking about a team that nearly went down last season, and you're 5-0 down inside 19 minutes with your senior players, who's someone who wants to be a captain, laughing with his hands on his hips, all thinking what's happened. Instead of standing there thinking and laughing, do something about it. Shocking, really. You go to St James's Park, most teams this season would lose, but nobody loses 6-1. But at the same time, what a performance from Newcastle.
Yeah, Liverpool are the only team to actually win St James's Park this season. And I think it kind of goes to show how well they've done. But that was absolutely a shocker, absolute shocker.
There's no excuse for
it. Exactly. Hello, Spencer. Hope you're good, mate. Ryan Mason's a lovely fella. Is he manager material? Not for me. Maybe we're judging him from what we see in interviews, etc. Might be ruthless in the dressing room. Who knows?
Yeah, he's someone you see. Although he has a manager experience, like I read, for example, when I went to the program, his article. He's someone who loves the club, his passion, a bit like Arteta with Arsenal. But the only difference is Arteta had experience with Pep. But they both they love the club. They want the best for the club. But Ryan Mason, his manager experience. He's worked in the academy. Was under in the end 18 months. I don't know how long it was, but it was about, I think, 15 months with Conte, then a short period assistant manager with Stellini. I would ideally, let's say, I don't know who we're going to appoint. That's irrelevant. But I think that next season, let's say, I'd love him to go to like a Premier League is too much for your first job, probably. Let's say he goes and manages his Championship side. There's lots of sides that will be, relegated as we speak to League One, or relegated to the Championship. And for example, let's say Southampton go down, or Southampton. They're probably going to be look for a new manager. So why not go with Mason, younger, young manager? Championship. You might as well. You've gone down anyway. You're not going to lose anything, are you? So I personally, that would be my ideal thing to do. He's a great guy. Wants what's best for the club, but at the same time, against Man United and Brighton under Stellini, when Stellini got sent off, Mason was in charge. He for example, tactical things he got spot on, bringing Danjuma on, which Brighton couldn't cope with. Dyer in defensive midfield because he knows he's not good enough defensively, and go to a back four. And it's a 1-1 to 2-1. So, and against Man United, 2-0 down at half time, no difference to Stellini or Conte. Tweaks a few things, eventually goes to a back four, changes a few things, and it works. So I think tactically he's quite intelligent, but obviously it's a big decision. But I personally would be willing to take it, because if you're taking a risk, obviously, with Conte and Mourinho, but if they're not going to win anything, then we're in a situation now, right, where we've got nothing to lose. Nothing has worked. People go, oh yeah, but we've got to win now. I don't know. You should be used to not winning, because we haven't won the trophy since 2008. So, as fans, we should be used to this. And long-term project, like was meant to be under Pochettino. But as I said, Levy won't do it because he won't accept that it was a mistake sacking him. He won't do it because Pochettino publicly asked towards the end, "I want to rebuild and I want to build the team around Kane." Can you imagine where we would be now if that happened? We stuck with him. We rebuilt with younger players. He wanted more of the youth academy, wanted more like control, if you like, of that. And he actually said, "I want to build a team around Harry Kane." Can you imagine if that had happened?
Yeah.
So that's a mistake. He won't ever go back because he won't accept it. And quickly, I'd just say, Douglas, you pointed out earlier with Conte and Levy how it was never going to work. I didn't realise until I sat here like last week, sitting here thinking, why did myself and us fans think it was ever going to work? Because both Levy and Conte, fantastic at what they do. Conte, fantastic manager. You can't argue with that because he's won trophies everywhere. But Tottenham, a bit like with Mourinho, but that's saying something about Levy. But that's not the point. And you've got Levy, who's although I don't like him, a very, very successful businessman, knows what he's doing, and always, you can always rely on him to be financially stable. Advertisement, he's got that spot on. So the business side of the club, fantastic, but we're a football club, not a business. But it's just never going to work because they're both all about their ego, their reputation, and their image, and they never, ever in their whole careers have either of them gone like this and gone, "I'm sorry." The most that we've got is Conte saying, like, for example, "Oh, perhaps I'm the problem," along with the players, along with the board. That's not saying you're the problem or apologising. Like with Levy, you list another 50 things after. That's not apologising because you're trying to direct it to someone else. Someone's just told him to put his name down. I take full responsibility along with the players, along with the coaches' staff, along with the board. No, just you take responsibility.
Yeah.
You're the one who makes the decision. And
it's just...
You hear stories all the time, Douglas, that the board have no power whatsoever. It's just Levy, and you've got someone, Dollar Cullen, listen next door, he doesn't want Poch back. So there's so many problems with the club, but I've never known the club run like Tottenham, and it is really, really shocking, really, because we're not a property portfolio, we're not a multi-sports brand, we're a football club. For example, last thing, Douglas, because I know I'm going off on one here, so apologies for that. But if you go to the club app, the club website, Spurs Official, and you read about the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it says the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium hosts, for example, blah, 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 concerts, this, that, the other, now go-karting, this, NFL, blah, 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 blah. And right at the bottom, 10, 20 lines later, as well as Tottenham Hotspur matches. You don't put something
goodness sake.
The last words, as well as Tottenham Hotspur games. You're like, what? It's not a neutral venue. It should be, we host Tottenham Hotspur Football Club games every season, every home game, and also, I just think little things like that, Douglas. I pick up on them and go, that's poor. Yeah, that's a sign of someone who doesn't care.
Oh my goodness me.
There you go. I don't know if anyone knew that, but there you go.
I did not know that. United would have been beaten if the Spurs played like that for more than 45 minutes. Yeah, 100%.
They would have beaten us like Newcastle.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Hope you as well. Andrew Quinn. Thank you for the support. Obviously, I have autism as you know. Yes, I do know that. So thank you for the support. Also, Gravenberch will tell Bayern he wants to move to Liverpool. Folk reported it. Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, Andrew.
Jungle is massive. I can't believe he's built a go-kart track. I don't know what he wants. A football team at a massive fun stadium.
Listen, we lose 4-1 to Leicester, and the day after, he's like, "Oh, breaking news, this new go-karting track." And us fans are sitting there like going into work and school on a Monday morning, as depressed as ever, knowing we've lost to, at the time, bottom of the league Leicester, 4-1, right? Embarrassing.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there thinking, oh my God, everyone's laughing at us. And you've got Levy going, "Oh, we got a new go-karting track." Like, he's really excited. Like, we just won the league. It's ridiculous. The club, that's one thing Levy can't do. He can't read the room and knock on the board, right? Whenever for example, we lost 6-1, obviously, to Newcastle. I know people say to me it's automatically generated, but they can stop that, right? Regardless of the result. So 8 minutes later, after that Newcastle loss, I get an email through from the club shop, 25% off. Don't miss it. And I'm sitting here like, I've just watched you lose 6-1, right? I'm recovering from the game, and you're sending me 2 or 3. Actually, sent me the other 2 that evening. oh, 25% discount till tomorrow morning. Keep going, check us out. And actually, not only was it the club shop, an hour later, I guess what I got? Season ticket. Yeah.
Oh my god.
The season ticket. Well, do you want to renew your season ticket right now? First offer. Don't miss it before you regret it. Seriously, I got those 2 emails through thinking you're wanting me to spend, and they were offering me like the full kit for like 120 quid. And I'm thinking, you want me to spend 120 quid? You want me to renew the season ticket for nearly £5,000? You serious? With just watching you lose 6-1? I mean, that is failing to read the room. I know you've got advertising stuff, but fans are recovering. Like with Twitter, we lose 6-1 to Newcastle. Oh, we will continue working hard in training and we will come back stronger. Yeah, right. It's like every day it's the same tweet on social media. Working hard in training. Yeah, okay. We don't see that on the pitch. So where's that coming from? Little things like that. The club is not really well run and they can't read the room. And it drives us fans crazy because, it's almost like they're trying to wind us up.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. Good evening, Adita. Hope you're well. Hey, everyone, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I love Harry Kane. For Scarfe, what is the minimum in terms of Liverpool players that you would take for Kane?
Right, listen, I appreciate that comment. I'm glad you brought it up. It's interesting. Obviously, as a Tottenham fan, I'm sure you're well aware that I would love to keep Kane at Tottenham. But I'm one of these rare Spurs fans, if you like, who sit here and go, I feel sorry for Kane. If he wants to leave, fine, because the club and Levy have let him down. You get Spurs fans sitting here going, oh, if Kane leaves, I will forever hold it against him. If he goes to Real Madrid or if he goes to Liverpool, if he goes to Man United, I will hold it against him. He must stay here, win trophies. I don't support Harry Kane. I support the club. Right. Pause a minute. And Harry Kane's been through a lot with this club. He's been through so many different managers. And Levy let him down because when both Kane and Pochettino hinted for that rebuild, built the team around him, he didn't do that. And Kane deserves to be winning trophies every season. He goes to Liverpool and wins trophies, goes to Man United and win trophies. I will still clap him. I will still be grateful because how can you disrespect a player like some of our fans will when he leaves, right? When he's the highest, he's all-time record goal scorer. That's an achievement in itself. He's won Golden Boots. He's carried us. I hate to use the terms Harry Kane FC, but really, when rival fans used to use that, we all used to say that's not true, but it is true. It really is true. This season's a clear example of it. Price, haven't a clue. But one thing for sure, I'd rather him go this summer for money than next season on a free. But I wish all the best for Kane. He deserves better than this. He deserves better than Levy and Enoch and our owners, the board. So fair play to him and good luck to him. If he wants to go to any other club and win trophies, he will have my support. And encourage all players to do the same because although I'd love Kane to stick around, it'll be hard to watch Kane leave. But I sit here and go, he deserves better. Yeah, I've got to be honest. I can't sit here and go, oh, I'll be devastated when Kane goes. I won't respect him. Absolutely, I will. It's different if you go to Arsenal. But even if he goes to Chelsea, you've got to remember he's our all-time top scorer. But what worries me with the likes of Chelsea is look at that nutter Todd Bowley, how much money he spends. And Levy, even you Liverpool fans will know with Daniel Levy, when a large amount of money is offered, he's in for it. Let's say Chelsea going for an absolutely wild offer, which they might not do, 150 million, random example, for Kane. Levy's not going to turn that down. He's going to be like, oh, more money for the go-karting track. I can get an extra track. That's the way he looks at things. And
I have to say, I do remember this. I remember when Mourinho was Skriniar and Levy got him Joe Rodon and stuff. I remember that. I remember that very, very well indeed. Hello, Mr.
He turned around and said, really, this is so really. He says, I didn't want this Joe Rodon. I've never heard of him before. I didn't know he existed. That just is everything you need to know. And Conte calling out, Conte's massive rant against the owners and against the player. That's probably the best thing to ever happen to this club.
He was right to do so.
I love it. And although I wanted Conte gone in the end because he was part of the problem because he couldn't accept his mistakes and his tactics and just too stubborn to change. I'm forever grateful for what he's done, because he's woken lots of fans up and he's forced Levy into action. Because although Mourinho called him up, Levy really threw them, Conte, really threw Levy in particular under the bus and the players, because we've all tried to make excuses for these players. I mean, maybe a similar situation with Liverpool this season, where people, rival fans and the media want to point fingers at Klopp. At the end of the day, why are you questioning Klopp, who's won leagues, now Champions League with Liverpool? Question these players, the attitude and effort they're putting in every game. We always try and make excuses for them, but we can't. But I'm forever grateful for what Conte done with his explosive rant, and he was spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Jack, Mac. I hope you're well. Go and check out Anfield Road TV if you haven't already done so. We are well. Good evening, Hannah, as well. Especially saying hello to Hannah. Hey, Spencer, just Hannah. Hope you've had a great day. Hi, Jack. Chris says, I don't know who Spurs should get as manager, to be honest. They had winners in Mourinho and Conte. Both didn't work out for we know why. Reasons always management in hell, leaving Mourinho and Conte. Balam says, hello, Harry and Douglas from the Douglas Football Channel. Do you think Tottenham players have a mentality problem?
Absolutely. A mentality problem is huge, because we look at that Bournemouth game, for example, right? We're 2-1 down and we nick a goal through from Danjuma, who finally comes off the bench and gets given a chance. And I think there's 6 minutes of added time. We score in the 93rd minute, right? You expect that game to be done, or anything, because a big club with Tottenham at least push on to try and get that goal. But the players, they celebrate for about a minute and they kind of they stroll around. You can tell they're still laughing, they're still chatting. They've switched off, they're walking. And Bournemouth, a couple of players down the wing, Tavernier being, I think, one of them, and Solanke being the other, who just went for it. And they walked for about 7 players and just cut inside, shot, goal. Literally 20 seconds from kickoff. That's a team. That's why Bournemouth deserve to stay up, because they wanted that more. They wanted that game more. I can sit here and go, if you look at the stats, we're the better team. Yeah, but you can be fantastic. You can be, have your best performance of the season. But if you don't want it at the end of the day, when it comes to important moments, at the end of the day, like with that Bournemouth game, they had more quality. They wanted it more. So mentality is a big problem. You've got players who laugh when we lose. Whenever we lose, there's no apology, and apart from Kane and Porro, to honest players, they never come out and admit. They apologise for what they've done. Newcastle, silence when Conte left, silence from everybody as well. So mentality problem definitely, because it's not normal to just perform for one half, and it's not normal to for example, what summed our season up really, Douglas, is when we lost 1-0 to Sheffield United in the FA Cup, and then went and beat City at home 1-0. That's a mentality thing, surely. Because do you know what? It was the exactly same team. The same team, bar one. Bar Kane. It was the same team. And you're telling me they can beat City 1-0, but they can't have a shot on target against Sheffield United. Come on. I mean, really? I think it's a mentality thing. And these players are too looked after, high salaries. But it comes back to, for example, I don't know if you know, but the fans were refunded their for the Newcastle game, and rightly so. I'm someone who's sometimes against it. This is a perfect example where some fans made a 14-hour all-round trip, stayed overnight, etc. To watch us 90 minutes, to watch the players not even try. I mean, you had to refund, but it didn't come out of Levy's pocket. Came out the players' pocket. And do you really think the players volunteered to do that, or is Levy like that? You need to do it now, otherwise you're gone.
I agree. Yeah,
and that's just so Levy again. And but I can't defend these players anymore, because they pick and choose when to play, and when they've had enough of a manager, same with any club, they just stop playing, and that is just not right.
Yeah, 100%. Hello, Maisie. Hope you're good. Go and check out Devils United people as well. Jack's got a very interesting question, and this is one thing I have actually noticed as well. Question, Harry, why has Son been so off form this season? What would you personally put that down to? I love him as a player. I love him as a player.
That's a great question. Yeah. It's a fantastic question, and it's one that I can't give you really an answer for, but I can give my kind of opinion on it. I don't think anyone will really know, because I can sit here and go, "Oh, it was Conte's tactics," At the same time, why did it work so well last season in Conte's tactics, where Son was hitting peak form on one joint, golden boot? So you can't use that excuse. And Son's a player who's aging. I think he's 30, nearly 31, maybe even 31 now. Perhaps it could be teams have figured him out. Maybe. I think as a player, he knows he hasn't been very, very good this season. And he can, if you asked him, did you let Conte down? He would say, he actually said, yes. I feel responsible. I feel bad for Conte because I knew I was a massive part of why he went because of my performances. So it could be a bit of everything. It could be something personally. I don't know. But yeah, he hasn't been very good this season. But he's been on it under Salini and Mason.
Yeah.
Since Conte's gone, he seems like a different player. So I really don't know if it was he didn't like Conte personally. But one thing's for sure with Son, he definitely tried. He's definitely tried all this season because he's given everything. He's working really, really hard. You can always see he's the only one pressing, the one leading. He just not involved that much. So it's an interesting question, but he seems to be some kind of back to best. But again, another reason why we won't sell him in the summer is because the amount of money Son brings in from South Korean fans who spend hundreds in our club shop, pay hundreds for tickets. Not being funny, but there's thousands of them inside now, the Spurs Stadium. The lineup, you hear Son's name, is louder than anyone else, louder than Kane. And it's good to see that. But Levy won't do that because there was someone upstairs, which is probably him, thinking, we're going to lose money from this. Not because of the football side of things. I mean, Son's not, but he could be the worst player in the world. If he's bringing money for Levy in the club, he's going to go, you've got to keep it here. Back pocket for the holiday. And like, for example, we made a lot. Although we're a wealthy club, we made a loss last year. And 4 days after it was announced that the club statement was announced that we made a loss, what did Levy do? Increase his salary by $500,000 a year. He was already the highest paid chairman in the Premier League. I think he's now the highest paid chairman in Europe. He's certainly in the top two. Again, that just sums him up. But no, it's a great question from Anfield Road TV. One that I sadly can't answer. But I think Conte's tactics probably played a part of it. Perisic, that could be it. Perisic often quite got in his way. He's a forward-thinking player. They often clashed on the wing. Son had to come inside, maybe. But generally, the team around Son hasn't been playing very, very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Spurs need someone to consider they shouldn't worry about winning stuff later, honestly. Super Mario could carry a bag would have put more effort than Spurs players did in the first 20 minutes against Newcastle. Tottenham's recent season's gotten draws at Anfield. Can they draw again tomorrow? Yeah. Would you take a draw tomorrow?
I would absolutely take a draw, right? And I have a lot of respect for Liverpool. And I would love to have the home form that they have. Don't get me wrong, they've lost silly games at home this season, yes. Same with in the end last season, but always the big games, you always turn up, the atmosphere is good, and the players always put a fantastic performance in. If you'd asked me right now, what place would you not want to go to on a European night or on even a Premier League game, I would say Anfield. Because I know it's so tough to come. The atmosphere fantastic. They'd be up for it because that, for example, you could be going into that game. Let's say Villa gets something against Man United and you win this. You're really in the top four battle. I mean, although we may be above you, your form and you're on it. The form's good in the last 2-3 games. I would definitely take a point going to Anfield. We're talking about a manager in Ryan Mason who doesn't have much experience of players that are who had a terrible season, but that confidence in Man United game in the second half gives me a little bit of optimism. If we can go there and take a point, I'll be very, very happy, regardless of where we finish. Because although Liverpool, I think you've still got a position to play for. For us, looking at our games to come and looking at how we've been formed, it's really about damage limitation. So if you said to me, if you say to me any day of the week, any time where I take a point at Anfield, even if we were top of the league, and you're mid-table, I'll still take a point at Anfield. That is the toughest place to come. Lots of managers say it, and they're spot on. You have a fantastic manager in Klopp. You have fantastic, togetherness, team spirit, and individual players who always turn up in big games at Anfield. The fans get behind them. It's a tough place to come, and even watching on TV tomorrow, I'll be sitting there like, you can feel it even then. And the players should be able to feel it. And, Pressure is one word I would use when you come to Anfield. And our players cannot cope with pressure. As shown at St James's Park, that atmosphere was absolutely rocking before the game at St James's Park.
Yeah.
And what did the players do? They crumbled inside 19 minutes they don't silence the crowd. So we can just crumble like that, but it gives me hope under a new manager and a little bit of togetherness. But I would take the point 100%. Ask me today, ask me tomorrow, any day.
Yeah. People who don't know Maisie, she is a Manchester United supporter, but she absolutely loves Sporting Lisbon. So she says, Tottenham pulled a good draw, 2-2 draw against Manchester United. Porto broke my heart scoring against us. Yeah, Pedro Porto. I think.
What a goal as well.
Excuse me. I think Nagelsmann for Spurs, but he's same as Pochettino for me. Championship or League One for Mason. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Balam's asking a couple of questions here. Does Harry think Jamie O'Hara is a bad look for the club? He speaks a lot of rubbish.
Oh dear. Right, listen to this. Right, Jamie O'Hara, nice guy. I have respect for him. And when it comes to when he calls out the owners, he absolutely spot on what he says. He's just echoing what us fans say. So there's times where I go, oh, do you know what, Jamie O'Hara, I really respect him because he's getting phone calls from the club saying, we're not happy with what you're saying. But at the same time, when it comes to his ball knowledge and some of the things he comes out with, like before that Arsenal game, we're still going to beat Arsenal. They're bottle it. We're still in a title race. Arsenal won't get top 4. Silly things he comes out with, like even now. Chelsea, they still could go down. I don't think they're going to go down. Things he comes out with, I don't know if it's talk sport in his ear, creating drama. I don't know if it's him, but it's not a good look for the fans when you're coming back to what he said. Your videos of what he said, we're going to beat Arsenal, we're going to smash this, we're going to smash them. And we like Arsenal, we said we're going to absolutely smash them. His prediction was 4-0. We lost 2-0, and it could have been worse. So he's a good representation for us fans in terms of calling out the board. But when it comes to other fans laughing at us, he makes things 10 times worse. And sometimes he needs to just keep his mouth shut because he thinks he knows everything and he doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, Rich. Hope you're good. Big up, guys. I think Liverpool probably win, but hopefully it's a draw. Tottenham have definitely playing Super Mario Kart behind the scenes.
Imagine Levy on the go-kart.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know what? We'll introduce a trophy, right, for whoever wins the most races in a day. That would be the trophy. Here you go. New trophy at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll host this massive event. And the winner of who won the race, probably Levy. He'd probably find his way to put his name on that. The club is just because the club is dodgy in so many ways. And another fact for you, I'm going to say that you probably didn't know. Did you know that ever since Conte was appointed, Levy's let me get this right. Son-in-law, I think it is. Yeah, I want to say son-in-law, who isn't part of the coaching team, sits on the bench 3 seats next to Conte, sat 3 seats next to Stellini, and he's not on the coaching team list, and he's not coach, right? The only reason he's there, apparently, is he's Levy's eyes and ears. If anything's said about him from the fans, from the coaching stuff. And then when Conte was gone, he shuffled up a seat, 2 next to Stellini. And whenever the camera's on the manager or on anything, he always seems to get in the way. He's this bald, tall bloke. He's not a coach. And he's gone now. Luckily, they've taken him away. But that's dodgy for you. That's a lack of trust. And do you ever have someone sitting on the bench, a relative of Levy, who isn't part of the coaching team? And he actually just stands there. He stands in between the dugout with his arms crossed like that. I know.
It's just
he's always on the phone at half time, and we know what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, of the managers that have been sort of linked with you, is a name like Julian Nagelsmann someone who you would take as Tottenham manager?
I would love Nagelsmann, but at the same time, I can sit here and go, he won't be here in 18 months' time because they won't back him. He'll have enough and leave because, Bayern, I don't know what was the issue in the end with Bayern, but he'd done a fantastic job. I'd love him here. And apparently he would love to come here, and he'd probably might convince Kane to stay as well, which would be fantastic. But he's not going to be backed. He's not going to be listened to. Nagelsmann will want what he had in Germany with Bayern Munich, where he's in control with, the transfers. has his say. Whereas at Tottenham Hotspur, we're unique, but in a bad way. Whereas the manager has no say. He's given the cheapest option, whatever there is. They're told what to do. They only have a short period of time. There'll be no project. So nothing will change under Levy and these owners. Nothing. You can get any manager, and we've proved it. Mourinho and Conte, who, Mourinho is probably one of the best, if not the best manager in the world. His career speaks for himself. Conte, although he's behind, he's still as well. He's won everywhere else he's gone, but Tottenham along with Mourinho. But what does it say, right, when you've got Mourinho left Spurs, won a trophy with Roma, which means he's won a trophy at every club but Tottenham. Same with Conte, and go on to the next job and win a trophy. Pochettino left Tottenham, PSG, won the league and League Cup. Even Nuno, in a small league in Portugal, he won the equivalent of the League Cup with them. That surely says something about the way the club is run. Right now, we need someone we need a long-term project. So, and that's an example. Levy tries everything with distractions. The fan advertising board is the next distraction. Ryan Mason doing well the second half. That's the next distraction. Season ticket renewal will be the next distraction. The next manager will be the next distraction from putting the pressure on him. Everything's kind of deflect. If you know what I mean. And he's full of excuses. He doesn't help himself with the things he comes out with either. I don't know where to go from here. There's not one manager right now where I would go that he's going to succeed at Tottenham, because he'll lose a couple of games and be gone.
This is a good question. What would you prefer, going to the Conference League and winning it, or have a go at the Europa League?
I would listen. As much as I want these owners gone, I'm not one of these fans who sits here and goes, I want us to finish in the worst place possible so it prompts action for Levy. At the same time, I want Levy gone and I want the owners gone, but I want what's best for my club. So I would obviously want Europa League over Conference League. But if you said to me, get into Europa League quarterfinal or win the Conference League, of course I want to win the Conference League, but I'd rather generally be in Europa League. It isn't the end of the world. Some fans will say, oh, I don't want to be in Europa League or Conference League. I'd rather not be in Europe. Okay, but you're turning down a trophy for a club like Tottenham. If we can win the Conference League, clubs may laugh at us, but it's our best chance. So why are you turning it down? I mean, at the moment, although we just about sit fifth, right? Yourself in Liverpool, Aston Villa, Brighton, all very, very close behind, who I promise you, they've all had fantastic seasons. Actually, no, take that back. With Liverpool, they haven't had a great season, but they hit top form right now. Like I say, Brighton have had a fantastic season. Villa under Unai Emery, the transformation has been amazing from 15th to 5th. They deserve to finish above us. We got to play them as well. So I think we'd be lucky to get 7th. Brentford win again today. They're not that far behind us. Fulham as well. They're they're 9 points behind us. That's still possible. So right now, Conference League is probably realistic. But I want what's best for my club. And although I want a trophy, I'm willing to wait if there's an identity plan, structure, and long-term project that involves younger players. I miss having the youngest team. I miss under Poch, where we had the youngest team, in Europe, where we were tearing teams apart. We played it in football because we play boring at the moment before Ryan Mason came in. Boring football, older team that's aging, the experienced players in there, and everything's wrong. So, I want what's best for my club at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. There wasn't a very interesting question, actually. I'll see if I can go back up to it. Well, we've also obviously talked about sort of team news. What's the latest on team news? Because I know that Hugo Lloris was substituted at half-time in that Newcastle game.
I mean, as a Liverpool fan, you'd love him, not being funny, but you'd like him to make it because Hugo Lloris, well-respected goalkeeper, makes, fantastic saves, a big name, won trophies with France, but he's getting at the stage where he's in his very, very late 30s now. He's retired from international football. He can't get down. He's making some silly decisions. I've heard that he's not available for the game, but doesn't it seem a coincidence, right? We're 5-0 down at half-time against Newcastle. He actually runs off the pitch down the tunnel, perfectly fine. Was fine during the game, but doesn't come out for the second half. And when he got asked about it in the game, he stuttered and went, well, we'll have to see. We'll revisit the situation the next day. He stumbled. I think he doesn't want to get out there. I think he's refusing. I actually think he's refusing to go out there at the moment, which is not good enough for a club captain, because when things go wrong, he remains silent, absolutely silent. One thing we miss at the moment is a pure leader, right? Henderson may not have the best ability in the world, but he's so vocal. I love it. He points, he shouts. As a Spurs fan, some people get annoyed with Henderson because what he does. Some people say, "Oh, he's not England captain," so and so. But I love what he does. Him and Kane, between them, they're the leaders of the team, and I absolutely love it. Because although Kane's on a different level in terms of ability to Henderson, I love they both want what's best for the team. They're vocal, and I love that. And when I'm playing, I'm very, very vocal. I always, for example, always lose my voice. And I think I'm okay at football, but I'm not up there with some players that I play against, because I play in defence and I do all the hard work, not the hard work, but the tough stuff, if you like, in terms of getting stuck into tackles, blocking, getting in the way, being physical, being a bit of a pain, really. The ability's not there, but I know how to defend. But, I always want to make sure that I've left the pitch knowing, my voice hurts and I've given absolutely everything. And we've got no leaders at Tottenham. Kane is the only Kane might clap his fans together, but how shocking is this, right? We just used 6-1 to Newcastle. Players go down the tunnel. Kane had to go down the tunnel, actually had to pull some of them and go like that, gesture several times to come over to the fans and clap them. In the end, player like Romero walks straight down the tunnel. Nothing. How bad is that? The very least you can do is clap the fans. So I question a lot of things that happen at this club, but we miss a leader, that's for sure.
Do you think Hugo Lloris will be replaced in the summer?
He has to be. It's about time. He's aging, right? Mistakes are into him, right? I'd much rather, as a Spurs fan, sit here and go Fraser Forster to start, because I don't know if anyone saw in the chat against Man United, he made some fantastic saves, 2, 3 at least, because I was there. Goal line clearances that with Lloris would have been goals. And he makes the right decision. He's a physical, big presence in goal. Lloris makes rash decisions, comes out, doesn't get the ball, gives the ball away. His distribution is shocking. He's aging. He's not as quick. He can't get down in the corner. People say Fraser Forster's taller and older, but he can get down in those corners. He has a big spring on him. So I would much rather him go in goal. Lloris, thank you for your service, but your time's really up. As I said, we're talking about a keeper who is coming up to his 40s. And has retired from international football. He's been a problem because he's not very vocal when things go wrong. He's been a fantastic keeper, but we needed that long-term replacement. But Fraser Forster isn't the long-term replacement because it's a very similar age either. That's another problem with the club. It's another thing that needs to be sorted out. But I'm sure Levy would love to get a goalkeeper through the academy, and I'm sure he'd love to do that. Saves him buying a new keeper. Why do you think players like Dyer and Davis are still here? Like Dyer wouldn't get into a championship team. He's only here because it stops Levy from buying a new signing. Because guess what? We were announced in the summer, right, that Porro signed permanently, Dyer will be signed permanently, Danjuma maybe, Kulusevski permanently, and he will turn around and say to the fans when they question him, 4 new signings. But they announce it like a signing. They go, breaking news. We're glad to announce that they actually say signing until they actually say signing off. I remember when who was it? Who was it? Someone's contract was Davis. That was it. Davis' contract was renewed. They announced it. They actually said, "We're glad to announce the signing of Ben Davis." We're like, "What? He's been permanently here for ages." But if you go into it and you read the article, the contract renewal really, that's players like Dyer are stopping him from signing new signings. There's lots of problems at the club, but I would rather Fraser Forster in goal. At Anfield, he'll be able to cope with the pressure, whereas Lloris will just crumble. Lloris will look around him, hear the noise of the crowd, read the situation, and just fall for it. Be silly, make silly mistakes. I promise you, mistake after mistake. But I can 99.9% confirm that he is ruled out for the game, which is good news for us Spurs fans, to be honest with you, considering Lloris's form.
With obviously, like, I know obviously Forster is obviously at Spurs at this moment in time, and I would imagine that he'll probably be number two again. There is a goalkeeper that continuously gets linked with Tottenham, and I think I know I think you might know who I'm talking about. But is there a chance, were Everton to go down, that you would go back for Jordan Pickford? Because it has been highly documented that Jordan Pickford is definitely liked at Tottenham.
Yeah, and rightly so. I'm aware that, there is Liverpool fans in the chat, but I'm sure that you can all admit, although Jordan Pickford, I'm sure, will annoy you because he's one of those one of those players who likes to wind up people. But you can admit that, especially for England anyway, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. I don't get why Spurs fans personally don't want him. I would have him any day of the week. People go, oh, but the price tag. It's not for me to worry about. It's for Levy to worry about. If he wants him, he's going to have to pay. Probably try and get him on loan or something anyway. But no, Everton looks like increasingly likely that they will go down, which is a massive shock. I think it's probably the biggest ever club to go down. It'd be huge. Can you imagine? It's not going to happen. But let's say Everton, Leicester, and West Ham all went down. I mean, Everton especially, a huge club. I would take Jordan Pickford. He's always been linked with us, but it won't happen, I don't think, because of the price tag. But I would definitely have him here. There's quite a few keepers. You've got David Raya that I would have. Even Meslier is not too bad. We just need a younger, not younger, but younger than Lloris, obviously. We need that long-term replacement because Lloris will, he's going to. I'm surprised he hasn't announced his retirement. I think that's why he's out of the team. Maybe he's planning to announce his retirement, but he can't have very, very long left because. He's clear he's past it, and he's lost it. It's sad to see, but his career is definitely coming to end. But Jordan Pickford, take him at Tottenham. Yeah, I can't see why fans can't because the price is not their concern, and his form for England. I mean, that's enough. Surely. Yeah. I mean, yes, he lets in a lot of goals for Everton, but look at the defense in front of him, and look at the whole team and the owners, the board, the managers they've had, like with Frank Lampard. Even Benitez, as good as a job he done with Newcastle and Liverpool, it was the wrong appointment for Everton. Why? It's never going to work. Why are you hiring an ex-Liverpool manager? It just doesn't make sense. And so the other managers out there, Lampard as well, great player, but not very good manager. Don't know why that was done. Don't know why it wasn't sacked earlier. It just doesn't. Yeah. So many things at Everton you could question. One thing is Jordan Pickford comes to Tottenham. Can't question that. I mean, but at the same time, Pickford, I mean, of course, he's still a Premier League club, but does he want to suffer at Tottenham? I mean, are you going to suffer more at Everton or Tottenham? It's hard to tell, really.
It's going to be very, very interesting to say the very least. But again, it's like Meslier, leads as another one. But we'll get into starting 11s. What would be your starting 11 going into the game tomorrow?
Oh, I haven't really thought about it apart from the fact that. So let's think about the team that faced United. So what I would change, I'll stick to the 5 because you're going to need every defender possible against Liverpool. What I would change is I'll bring Davis in for Perisic because on that right-hand side, assuming you'll be up against Alexander-Arnold and Salah, who two top players, two very, very top players. Alexander-Arnold had his blips this season, but the last 3 games he's proved the player he is. You can't question, especially his attacking ability. I mean, he's crossing, he's passing, his assists up there with the very best in world football. Salah as well, up there with one of the best. His ability, he surprises you every game. Again, may have his dips in form, but as I say, in many situations with Tottenham, I say the same with Liverpool with Alexander-Arnold and Salah here. Form is temporary, but class is permanent. Both players are proving that now. So you have to play Davis because Perisic, typical Tottenham, he's never played wing back before. We're playing him wing back. He's a winger, and he can't defend. So up against them two, you could double up on that side maybe. But one thing's for sure is Davis has to play for me. So that's one thing I would change. And the second thing would be, I'm not sure what Liverpool fans make of this, but so Kulusevski came off the bench against Man United, been poor all season. I've criticised him a lot. But, he looked good. But I would start Richarlison over Kulusevski because you can understand, I'm sure, as Liverpool fans, although you may not like Richarlison, which I can completely understand because being a rival with him, he is a wind-up match, and he is. When he was at Everton, he used to annoy me. He's great to have in your team, but he's some of the things he does are annoying. Like let's kick it up. He's against Forest. I was one of the ones who criticised him for that because why showboat? We weren't even winning the game. I don't like that. The game's not done. But no, he will want more hunger than ever, as you can imagine, against Liverpool. Having played for Everton, hasn't scored a Premier League goal yet, so I would start him. So that's the two things I would change: incoming Davies and Richarlison. Going out would be because Richarlison started against Man United. So the only change would be Davies for Perisic.
I think Liverpool are going to make a couple of changes tomorrow. I'm not so sure Jota is quite fit. I think he might be a little bit injured. And I think probably Canati.
He played well last time out, didn't he?
He was excellent. He was really, really excellent. And
he get top four.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be Ali in goal. I'm going to go obviously Trent right back. I think Kanai will come back in for Matip. I know Matip scored the winner against West Ham the other night, but I do think Kanai will come in. It'll be Van Dijk. It'll be Robertson. Here's where I think the change will be. I think Fabinho will come in. Again, I think Curtis Jones will keep his place. I'm actually going to go to Thiago instead of Henderson. I'm not so sure Henderson can play 4 games in a row. I really, really don't. So I think Henderson will be on the bench. So I think of Fabinho, Thiago, and Jones. Then I think there will be a change. I think that Darwin Núñez or Luis Diaz could potentially come in. I'm actually going to go Luis Diaz. I think Diaz might come in. I'm going to go Gakpo and I'm going to Mohamed Salah.
Can I tell you the one I fear the most out of all of them? I fear Núñez the most because although he's been laughed at by a lot of fans at times this season, because he has missed some chances, of course, especially at the start of the season, he should have put in the back of the net, but he causes defence problems. And can you imagine up against Dyer? I mean, die by name, die by nature. I don't need to say anything about that. Davis as well isn't the centre back. He's playing centre back. Again, wouldn't get into a whole City's team at the moment. And you've got Romero, although I rate him a lot. I think he's up there with one of the. But he's our equivalent of your Van Dijk. Right? He's the best defender we've got. Yeah. At the same time, he's a liability. If he gets rattled by the crowd, he all of a sudden out of nowhere will put in a 2-foot tackle and probably get sent off. Because that part of his head doesn't quite get it. It's the same with Richarlison. They're a liability. Though we love them when they're on our team, they just can't, especially Romero, can't just so easily fooled. If you wind up Romero, that is what you do. If you're Liverpool, let's say you're Núñez or you're Salah, you mess with Romero, you pull his shirt a few times, you elbow him a little bit, say a few words to him and rattle him. Because he'd try and win the ball, took 2-foot tackle and it'd be off. Because Romero's the closest player I can, not in terms of ability, but in terms of liability, I can relate to is Xhaka. That's the player he reminds me of in terms of doesn't understand when your team needs him. The head, he loses the head. And Xhaka at Anfield, with that moment where he rised above a situation he didn't need to, looks like what's cost Arsenal the title. Because they haven't been the same since. Because not only did he rattle, Arsenal fans, he rattled everyone. He annoyed Liverpool fans. He annoyed his team. He's rattled his whole team. He's rattled Arteta.
Yeah,
they're not playing without. They're not. So who would have thought? Arsenal play Chelsea tomorrow, and nobody knows what's going to happen because Arsenal. It looks like they're out of it. But that started it. But yeah, Núñez is the one I probably fear the most. At the same time, Diaz, if he's on it, is a real threat. Firmino, if he's fit off the bench, I mean, he scores goals. I know he's going at the end of the season, but he scores goals. And he loves scoring against Tottenham and scored a lot of goals against Tottenham. I mean, anyone can because of our defence, but Firmino is very, very good at it. Liverpool, your strength is the thing that must worry you Liverpool fans, and I can relate to as a Tottenham fan and us Tottenham fans, is defence and the fact that it's unlikely that both teams are going to keep a clean sheet tomorrow. I'm going to go and say this, it'll probably be a 0-0, right? But both teams' strength is attacking football. It's clear. I mean, we've got some Kulusevski, Kane. I know they're not on it, but the likes of Richarlison, they're still a big name. Liverpool, Núñez, Salah. Obviously, not strong without Mane, but Diaz, Jota, when they're on it and when they're fit. Big threats, big names as well. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a high-scoring game, but the first goal will obviously be important. Yeah, Nunes is probably the one that I fear the most. I think he's dangerous. I think he's underrated.
Yeah, for me, Son's the one I fear the most out of Tottenham. And obviously Harry Kane. As well, Kulusevski, I do like. I do really, really like.
Yeah, because Son out of nowhere can just cut inside and score a worldie if he's had the worst of games. Yeah. So, keep an eye on him. But at the same time, if you can keep Kane quiet, you've kept Tottenham quiet. Keep quiet. We're not going to score.
Yeah, I'm going to actually ask you this. What is your prediction for tomorrow?
Right, I've already decided my prediction. I decided on the show that I co-host, Part Lane Podcast, this morning. And listen, before I say it, I've got to be honest. Liverpool, Anfield, tough game. And, fans get behind them. The support's incredible. And, the atmosphere, as I say, and they always seem to perform big games at Anfield. So I'm going 4-1 Liverpool. I just think that Liverpool, at Anfield, big games, you really can't question them. They really, really turn up. Arsenal, you deserve to win that game. There's so many games that being in a bad situation, you still go and beat Man City, get a point against Arsenal. So, any fan going Spurs fan right now going to Anfield thinking we win is mad. So yeah, 4-1 Liverpool, got to be honest. I think you finish above us. You've hit a good patch of form, and overall, again, you want it more than us, and it's clear to see. But a little bit of hope that second half of the Man United game, and Ryan Mason in charge, he feels like one of us. He knows what it's like. He knows how we feel. Better style of football, but you just never know. His lack of experience could cost him if he goes for the game at Anfield. And we get turned over. But no, Liverpool 4-1. Honestly, that's what I think.
4-1. I had 3-1. I had 3-1 in my head. I just have a feeling that that's going to be it'll be interesting to see if you get the first goal tomorrow.
The first goal's
and then see what sort of 100%. I'll see what the mindset is going into that game. But I'm going to ask you just before I let you go. Out of your last 5 games, how many points do you think you'll get? Because you got Liverpool away, you got Crystal Palace at home, Villa away, Brentford at home, and then Leeds away.
Listen, I didn't expect. I don't think I would have said under Stellini we wouldn't have won any. A little bit of our confidence under Ryan Mason. I think we'll lose against Liverpool. Palace at home, I think we'll win that. Although Palace have been good under Roy Hodgson, but they're pretty much guaranteed. I don't know if they are guaranteed, but you look at it, they're safe now. So I'm hoping they ease off.
Well, they're above Chelsea. They're above Chelsea. So
there you go. They're above Chelsea. So I think they'll be. I think they're definitely all right. That win over West Ham confirmed it. I think they only needed a point really, but 3 points.
That was a mad game today.
Mad game. I'm going to watch that match of the day, that's for sure. 100%. That was a really, really good game. Villa away. I think we lose that. Villa have been so good, and the atmosphere of Villa Park will be great because they know they've got Champions League football potentially at stake. Or European football, because they know that they have a huge chance of winning the Europa League if they get into it. Emery's form in the Europa League speaks for itself. I mean, come on. He's won it with Villarreal, always does well in the competition. That's no points against Liverpool, 3 points against Palace, so it's no points against Villa. So that's 3 so far. Brentford, I think we'll win, so that's 6 points. What am I missing?
Leeds away, which you... At home, you beat them 4-3, and I remember that game very, very well.
They were the better team. We were extremely lucky, like we have been all season. It depends, really, because Leeds United could be. I mean, there's 2 things it could be, 3 things it could be, and 2 that are positive for us. One could be that they've gone by then in terms of relegated, which is a possibility because they've really struggled recently. And the second thing is they're confirmed safe by them, which is unlikely of the 2 right now. The worst thing we want is that they are let's say in the relegation zone, but can still stay up on the day and they go for it. I think we'll still lose regardless because I think our players switch off. They think the season's done. So that's a loss. So what is that? 3 points against Palace, 3 against 6 points. And I think
6 points, so that would
and I
get you
think
on to 60 points.
60 points, I think that is a 6th or 7th place finish. A 7th.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going 7th,
so.
maybe just.
I mean, that would be the Conference League spot as well. But, I mean, we'll just need to wait and see. We'll need to wait and see. Get your predictions in the chat, people. My prediction 7-1. Gakpo gets his first hat-trick. Who knows? Chris Will says, take care, lads. My 3-year-old niece gave me a birthday hug. Happy birthday, yes, Chris. Happy birthday.
Big up,
And a
Chris.
card. And I'm going to spend time with her. My prediction, Liverpool 5, Tottenham 1.
Fair enough.
Lloris passed his best.
You guys know what we're like. It's good to see that, although Tottenham's not your first team, although it's good to see, you know about us and you know that those scorelines are realistic. Newcastle proved it.
Yeah, Lloris passed his best, but I do not blame him for rubbish defence in front of him. Look at him for France, much better,
exactly.
100%. There was a question which actually did actually ask both of us. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. An Arsenal question, right? Do you both, Douglas and Harry, think Arsenal have bottled it as they were top of the Premier League most of the season in some ways, rather than Manchester win the Premier League? Right, I'll be honest with you now. Arsenal have been more on top of the Premier League this season than that Liverpool team in 13-14. Arsenal were trying to sort of compare themselves to that team. Now, for me, this Arsenal side is much better than that 13-14 team. I will say that now. But what I will say, to those Arsenal fans that said Arteta is much better than Klopp, this is what you're getting. The amount of deludedness in your fans being this completely over the top excited. Look, I know that Arsenal have done well this season. Look, I'll admit that. I will definitely admit that. You are still top at the moment, but 2 games in hand for Manchester City. Man City are going to go top even.
I can't see. If you look at City's remaining games, I can't see them dropping points. Where with Arsenal, I can. So I think it's damage limitation now for Arsenal. And they've got hope. On the final day, they go a point or 2 maybe behind. But you look at City. Where are they going to slip up? Because they're going to have to lose or draw 2 or 3, which they're not going to do.
Yeah, 100%. I've got City's fixtures up here. So after Fulham, they got West Ham at home. That would be a win. Leeds at home, win, definitely. Then there's obviously Real Madrid away. That's going to be a tricky game. Everton away. Everton absolutely shocking.
But at the same time, they need every single point, and I'm sure the fans will be up for that. So I think if they're going to slip up, believe it or not, I think it'll be them, because Everton. Because although people look at the table and go, Everton been terrible, but their team in desperate need of points. And City, I mean, if they go there with the wrong attitude, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I can't see where City's next drop points are coming from. I really, really don't. And I think they are going to win the league as well. And look, Arsenal have qualified for the Champions League. I think that would have been, the most expectations I think they would have probably had at the start of the season. Champions League football is imperative to teams like Arsenal, teams like City. But I think, look, they have had a good season. I get that. But you haven't won anything. Now, the fact is, Arsenal fans were saying on AFTV and loads of things like that, Liverpool won the COVID Premier League. When you get people like that, that really, really bugs me. And the other thing is, Liverpool actually had 82 points when the Premier League stopped with COVID. So Liverpool were 25 points clear of Manchester City by then. The title was won because Manchester City only got 81 points. The title was won. So the fact that Arsenal fans are now saying, "Oh yeah, you won the COVID League, you won the COVID FA Cup," then if you want to have that argument, it's just Arsenal. It's just Arsenal fans in particular, and obviously the ones on obviously AFTV as well. But what I will say, they have had a very good season. I just think the game at Anfield, I think Liverpool broke them. I really, really do. I think we broke them in that second half.
Thank
I
you for
think
that.
as well.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. It makes our season better. I was trust me, I was a Liverpool fan for the day when they played Arsenal. Trust me, I was I felt like I really, really, really wanted them to win. I think you really.
I know. I think to say the very, very least, I think for Spurs fans, obviously Arsenal are, well, it looks like they're not going to win the Premier League now, but I just think this season has been absolutely bonkers, and yet there might be another twist. Maybe City go to Brentford and probably actually City go Brentford on the last day of the season. They have got Chelsea, but Chelsea, I think. Brentford is away, or it's the final game of the Premier League season.
It's not easy at the moment to go to Brentford, the Betfred Community Stadium. The atmosphere is good there, but at the same time, will they switch off at the end of the season if they've got nothing to play for? Maybe. But I'd just like to add on, Douglas, about Arsenal, if you don't mind. I'm going to sit here and be honest with you. Lots of Spurs fans, including myself, laugh at them, and some think that they have bottled it and take the mickey. But I'm going to sit here and be honest. Although it's fun at the moment, funny to laugh at them and go, you bottled the league, 14 points clear. You bottled it. Yes, they have thrown it away and bottled it, if you like, but at the same time, to be in the position we didn't think it last season, and I didn't think it personally. So that's credit to Mick Arteta and what he's done. These bunch of players, because yes, people keep reminding me that Spurs in particular that they brought in top players like Saliba, Odegaard, Jesus, big names. True, but that squad still it's been overachieved with Arteta, and that is something I continue to bring 100%. Up. I think it's been overachieved, and yes, it's funny to see them throwing it. Bottling, I don't like to use a lot, but they use it with us, so I'm going to have to use the word bottling because they were so far clear. But overall, it's been a very, very successful season for Arsenal because getting top 4 at the start of the season was successful. And yeah, they've had an absolutely fantastic season, but they've thrown it away towards the end. And, they really have. And I don't know what it was, but the City game, City wanted it more. So yeah, I can sit here and be honest. I can sit here and lie to you and go, Arsenal bottled it. A terrible season. They've thrown it away, shocking, really, really funny. But no, I'm going to sit here and be honest that they've overachieved, and you've got to understand that. So, Arsenal fans should be very, very grateful. But at the same time, the ones, especially the AFTV, Arsenal Fan TV, who have built it up, you've got Robbie doing that massive 3-minute video before the Etihad saying how he believes they're going to win there and win the title. Things like that, where they're arrogant, we're going to win 6-0. Things like that, AFTV come out with, which might maybe for views or maybe delusion, who knows, is part of the downfall. But players don't hear some of the stuff they come out with because they're huge. AFTV, they would have heard some stuff all on the radio, on the news, from family, from relatives, friends. So yeah. Arsenal have definitely thrown it away, but overall, what a season they've had, and fair play to them. I hate to sit here, but our noisy neighbours, they're doing a fantastic job because 10 months ago we were above them. That's the sad thing. We've gone backwards as a club massively. We've taken 4 steps back, and they've taken 4 steps forward. That's the reality.
Yeah, 100%. Harry, it has been an absolute pleasure to get you on the channel. I've really, really enjoyed this match preview. And guys, I will be over on Harry's channel on Monday evening at 8 o'clock for the basically the review of the game. So really looking forward to that. But Harry, tell the people where they can find you, and it has been a pleasure, sir.
Absolute pleasure. Firstly, before I talk about myself and where you can find me in my channel and what I do, big up, Douglas. Thank you for having me on. Absolute pleasure. I'm very, very grateful for the invite and very, very thankful to come on. Big up to everyone in the chat. Some fantastic questions, some fantastic comments. And there's no hate. I don't hate Liverpool at all. Sometimes I sit here and go, I hate them. Obviously, I wish you best of luck for the season after tomorrow. But all jokes aside, all jokes aside, I wish you all the best. So no, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Great show. I'm very proud and grateful with yourself, Douglas, to be part of, like you said, join both of us, a guest as well as yourself and the guest both have autism. That is a massive step forward for football community, for not only for Liverpool but for not only for Spurs, but for football, for sport and the world in general. It's a massive step forward, and I hope that encourages others to go, look, you can do it. Why can't I do it? I hope to. I'm sure yourself, Douglas, you can echo what I'm saying here, but I hope to. That's part of the reason I set up my own show, my own podcast, which Douglas will be on Monday 8 p.m. Just to inspire people, to look and go. It's not about what I want to achieve personally. I just want to set the example to go. Oh, do you know, I want to be like him, or I want to, mainly for autistic people with special needs, to go there and look. I can do it. I can achieve my wildest dreams, because never did I sit here thinking that my content would be watched by hundreds and sometimes even thousands. But hey ho, I didn't. That's not the aim. But I've come a long way. But where you can find me, I've done a lot of waffling, so I do apologise. Where you can find me, Twitter handles there, Harry Scarfe 22. Any Liverpool fans in the chat, I'm willing to connect with you. I'm an advocate for an activist for autism on there, as well as a content creator and also YouTuber. I'm the founder of Scarfe Spurs Talk, which is it gets longer and longer by the day, it seems to be, but it's like it's an independent hub, fan channel, and now podcast channel. Close to 700 subs, gained so many subs this year. Very, very grateful for the incredible support. And the went down better than I ever expected with the new show, which every Monday 8 p.m. on the channel, which I try and promote. And I'm looking forward to having Douglas on Monday. So Liverpool fans, come over, because although it may be a Spurs podcast, what I'm trying to do is get other fans' views. Douglas will be on, so follow Douglas over. He'll be giving his thoughts, and we'll be also looking at it from a Liverpool perspective. And a neutral perspective as well, because that's what we do on the channel. And also, I co-host Park Lane Podcast. I'm one of 4 co-hosts every Saturday, 11 a.m, same time, same place, like I did this morning. So yeah, busy, as you can imagine. And I'm very grateful for all the invites to shows I've had, and the latest one being Douglas. So thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and big up to everyone in the chat. Have a great long weekend and Bank Holiday Monday. And big up and thank you for tuning in and listening to me waffle. But no, Douglas has a great channel. Make sure to subscribe to his channel as well as mine. You got to subscribe to Douglas. Great channel. You say you've been doing it 2019 since. That's all right. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's not long. Some YouTubers have been going a lot longer. So what he's achieved in a short period of time has been fantastic. So big up. Check out his channel, which we're currently on.
Absolutely.
Drop a sub.
You are very, very welcome. And I will leave this because Chris Lester Till I Die TV just came in. What did the journal call us to endorse? And a 1 and a 2. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. But thank you everyone who has watched this evening. I really do appreciate it. And obviously Liverpool Tottenham is a 4:30 kickoff tomorrow at Anfield, live on Sky Sports. So please do enjoy the game, guys. If you have obviously missed the live stream, please do watch on playback and do let us know your starting 11 and let us know your score predictions ahead of a massive game, especially in the fight for top 4. But guys, I'll be back very, very soon. I am over on Harry's channel, so please do go and check that out on Monday. And I will leave a link in the community tab for people to go over and absolutely share out everything as well. But guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.